everybody, it's the Redstone Wizard here again, bringing you another Redstone tutorial. This time, we are updating Maizuma Games category sorter for Bedrock. Of course, this is his actual design, modified to fit on Bedrock. Just gonna let you guys know that. So these adjustments were actually implemented by him and modified by me. So, I was watching his channel. I watch his channel. I keep an eye on his channel because he comes up with pretty good things. I do recommend checking him out. More if you're a Java or able to modify like I do. But yeah, so we still got the standard category sorter with everything that's involved. Everything that is in the iron blocks is everything that is possible. That is the old system, minus a few little things here and there. So, what we have here is this part right here. We're just going to say this is a impulse bulk storage for the system. You can add a bulk storage to this if you need to. So this is just one thing that some people like, oh, but I want this, so they build a second sorter. Put it all together, everything sorts out. So his modifications that he made were what I would call quality of life. Okay, so first off, I'm going to make one little change. In this area right over here, I had a non-stackable sorter with a little extra space. But the issue was with the non-stackable sorter, it was with the one that he had, it wasn't working for me at the time, so I forego it and work with something else. Well, I worked on it and I got his non-stackable sorter in it. So what we need to do is rip out that non-stackable so you can actually move this in one more. A little more compact. And rip out all the hoppers. Take this hopper, line it directly into the chest. Okay, that's that part. We're going to leave the comparator alone because we need that. We can remove any blocks here. And then we're going to add a block and a slab. The slab is necessary because we still want this rail to be like this. And if this is a solid block, it will power. It doesn't have to be a slab. It has to be a transparent block. Glass will work too. And then we're going to put a comparator going into this block on subtract mode with a furnace behind it with one item in it. That's your non-stackable sorter for the items that go in here. We have one item in the hopper behind this block, but other than that, this is the only change that I made a little while ago and didn't make an update. But for that to finish up, we just have to extend this out one more for it to go there. That's fine. Okay, now my pulse extender I had up here, rip it out. We don't need that anymore. Because that's what this does now. The reason why I made that pulse extender was just in case we got items in that was less than that was way over there and needed to be filtered, but couldn't. But the minecart would launch before all of them would got over there. This actually solves it. So with these lamps, all we're going to do is place. Okay, let's get under here because here's the dust here's the dust. Here we have typically a torch. Replace the torch with the dust. Okay, and then starting from here, going around, you're going to go repeater, dust, repeater, dust. We can keep the lamps. If you have lamps, you can keep them. It doesn't matter. But when you get to the end of your line, it's depending on how you have it. If you have a dust, it's easy. If you don't have a dust, if you have the comparator, it's easy. Just you have to power. You pretty much have to make sure that you power the comparator with a dust, either through a block, like right here. I have this comparator being powered through this dust and this dust through this block, or power the dust through a block. Either way, you have to power the comparator You have to keep this line going while items just cycle through. Then, and we go all the way to the end. You go all the way to your very end. Okay? That's how it works. You go all the way to the very end of your line. Then, up here, next to the dust that we replaced the torch with, we're going to place a block and a torch, a block on top of the torch, with a block on the side of it, with a torch on the side of it, and a block on top of that. Okay? Now we angle this rail. Easy way to angle it is, I'm just going to place it here. We're just going to place the block here, because we need that block, break it, and place, there you go. We have now the angle we want. We want this to be an angled normal rail, and this to be a powered rail. We had this, so we're just literally just making a small little change here. That's it. So then we're going to create a 2 comparator pulse extender away from here. This block, if it didn't have the torch on it, it would be unnecessary, and this block, if it didn't have the rail running into it, would be unnecessary. So these two have to be solid blocks. This has to be a solid block. And this has to be a solid block, but these could be whatever blocks you want. So we got a 2 comparator decay pulse extender running into a monostable circuit. Now, in his video, he has this set to 3. It doesn't work. We have to add another tick. We have to hold the delay just a little longer. And then it works. Then we place a trapdoor on a block. Make sure you break that block to place the trapdoor with a torch above it. That right there is the extender to be able to process this. Be able to hold the items and process. Now, this right here, as you can see, is still running. That's still good. I've been using this sorter for months now. As soon as I built it, I used it. And I still use it. I love this sorter. It's so simple. Well, at least for me it is. But yeah, that's the second quality of life change in the system. Let's clear my inventory out. And now the third quality of life change. Now this is a 2-part quality of life change. First off, we're going to place a hopper going down off of the dropper that pulls the items and sends it back to the storage chest. And then we're going to take out the rest of these blocks over here, the ones that were in this line right here, to control when this hopper releases the item, because we have to pulse this right here to be able to release the items. It's weird, I know, but it's Bedrock, so we have to do what we can. The items it doesn't stay unlocked long enough for the items to transfer into the dropper. So we go down like the dust, and then right underneath it, we make a 3-long line with 2 repeaters set to 2 ticks, and then a dust, one going down with a dust, a block with a torch in line with that whole thing, a block on top of the torch, a torch on the side going towards your input chest with a block on top of it, and a dust on top of that. That right there will still do the same thing that it initially did, except now it's, well, less space taken up. Then we're going to take a comparator and read this dropper with a block in front of it and 2 pieces of dust with a torch on the torch right next to the hopper. Now this hopper is locked. So if you take a non-stackable item like a diamond sword and a stackable item like a snowball, We throw the snowball in, it's not going to go anywhere. We throw the sword in, and right now it's getting powered from this. So if we just do a quick power, it will unpower it. So let's just break, and there we go. Now, it didn't, so all we heard was a single click. So if we check here, we got the diamond sword. And now I have these things in here, but that's because I was testing. But yeah, so let's check it out again. Let's put the diamond sword in. And this happens pretty fast, so diamond sword gone. And diamond sword's here. And then you take this and you set it up into your bulk storage area. And you don't have to have a barrel here. I felt like having a barrel here because I just wanted to drop it down and be able to access. But yeah, you can take that and set it anywhere you want. So now the next thing, and most of this is literally inside of the brain, and it's not essential to use, but it's quality of life to use. It makes the system faster, makes the system more usable. So the next one is we're going to have to change this up right here, because we're going to take the items that it gets pulled out and stick it up in here so that we are actually putting a full stack into the sorter. So first thing you do is you take this top dropper that was facing up, point it to the back, and skip a space and put 3 droppers facing up with a hopper going into the bottom one. And then 2 hoppers going into this rail right here. Into the rail in line with it, because we are sending the items right here. They will pick it up. So then what we do is on the bottom dropper, we're going to place a block in front of it, and we're going to put a comparator receiving a signal from there. So if I throw this in here, it's pretty fast. It actually gets up there pretty fast. So that's what we want. So we're going to take a comparator reading through the block, putting power into a block, which will depower this torch. With the block on top of it, we have dust getting powered and dust here. Now, we need to redirect this dust, so we're using just a tripwire hook. You can use anything that you want to redirect the redstone here. Redirect the redstone right here. You could use a button if you need to. Whatever items that won't power this dust to have this to change the direction. Because we do not want to power this. And that's what that does. It redirects it to there. So then we have a 2-tick repeater going into a block with a torch tower, a 2-torch tower, which creates the dropper to go. It will activate each dropper. The repeater here activates the dropper down there, and the torch activates that dropper, and the block up, which activates that dropper, and this one activates that one. Okay. Now we rearranged it, and if you're rearranging it, you need to place a block here, put the dust up here, and remove the dust here. It's still the same circuit, it's just we flipped it, because we want this to be powered just as this is losing its power. So this is going to stay on longer than this. This gets powered, releasing that, and then this shoots off and activates it. So all you have to do is just flip it around. And then we're just modifying it to power it from the side instead of the back. And this is still your input chest, so you can have it set up however you need. You can put hoppers anywhere that you need it to go. I just don't, and I don't recommend placing them like that. That will get in the way. You can place them like that. You can place them like that. Or even like that. Those are your locations. Those three. So now, let's get into the last quality of life thing, and that is the shortcuts. So, from wherever from your first dust after the comparator, we need to go 2 more blocks. I have these going down because I wanted it. But you don't have to have them going down. You can have them going in a straight line. Or you can even have one going up and one going down. As in, like that. It doesn't matter as long as you get it going up and down. As long as you get it an additional 2 blocks. And we're going to put dust on all of that. So now this system has 5 dust per section for this. 5.5. 6.5. Because you either using your comparator or dust. And that's the easy way to look at it. 6.5 per section. Then we're going to put a torch on every single one of these blocks. And then we're going to go down 2 blocks to place dust underneath the torch. So when an item gets pulled from these, the torch will activate. So if I come in here and pull my redstone dust out from here, come up here, you notice this torch is on, which means that an item was pulled from this section. This is 15 blocks long, so it is this part was designed more to allow this right here to be able to do it without using a repeater that was unnecessary. So we have 15 blocks long, and then we've got a repeater here, followed by some more dust. Now now this one right here, it's because of the way the rails line up. Now if we go over to this one right here, you notice I'm just using a torch. Again, it's because the way the rails line up. So let me grab a regular rail, and we'll come down here, and if I place the rails here, what's going to happen is they're going to want to snap to this rail and this rail. So I place it here. I said it's that rail and that rail. Now if I break it, it's going to want to snap to this rail and this rail. If I break it and break this one, in fact, it's going to want to snap to this rail and this rail. So it is utilizing the specific rail snapping. So knowing that the rails want to go into a certain way, the easiest way to do it is get your line run, come to this part, break it, and place it. If it snaps like this, you want to invert it by powering it. And if it doesn't do that, then you just want to power it when you want it to flip. And due to the amount of distance between the switch and the last item to be sorted, you don't want to have more than a 1-tick repeater in the last line or an additional torch. So pretty much you only want up to 2 torches or a torch and a repeater. That's it. No more repeaters, no more torches in this part of the system at the very end. In fact, actually about 4 or 5 blocks in, I wouldn't recommend having anything other than a torch and a repeater powering this part. But then it's going to redirect the signal here to allow the rail to change from a zigzag rail to where technically this is a straight rail. So it's a straight rail. This is a zigzag, so it's going to ignore this. If it's classified as a straight, which means it's going in here, it's going to come in here and go up there. And all we have is that standard one Hawaii bumper to send it right back up. It comes up, collects the items, and deposits a full stack. Now, those are the absolute major quality of life things that he added, which honestly, it makes this system so much faster. I do mean so much faster. So now the last thing that he did was if you have a overflow section that gets full. Okay, I have this mocked up as if it is an overflow section that gets full. So now what happens is items come in, and I'm just going to throw this in there. And now, because it's keeping that locked. And it's pulsing, and if you, yeah, it's a cool light show and all. But it says there's something wrong. Which says a lot. Which means, oh man, I gotta come and find out what. Okay. So we come in and look. Now, we have a hopper here that's passing items back and forth. Now, you can tell you definitely have something wrong when you take and throw 2 items in, because now it's a broken solid line. That right there is it's a broken line, so every other one, everywhere there could be where their dust is running, it is just solid, so it's scattered. Looks cool, not effective though. It says there's an issue, so you have to solve that issue. So either you clear out items from your overflow to let those items back in, or we have another thing, which is I'm going to get rid of all those items. Which is just a dispenser, and this is actually set up to protect the system itself from massive overflow. What it is a comparator with 2 pieces of dust and a torch. That right there bounces it back and forth if the system is full, because we have this right here, this hopper going down into a dropper. Now, he uses note blocks in his. Well, note blocks don't do anything for us, so we can't. So I'm using redstone lamps because they're quiet, and I want it to be quiet. So we use a redstone lamp next to the dropper that is facing either down, forward, or even this way to send it off to like another storage if you happen to have multiple storages in a similar area. In fact, actually, I might do that so that I can actually have a bulk not attached to this. So if it fills up and it's like, oh, no, it's bulk. And then if it doesn't sort in bulk, then it goes into whatever, into the overflow over there. But yeah, so what happens is if the items are full, it's going to bounce back and forth, and as soon as, let's grab stack here, and we're going to just go right here, and we're going to add a half a stack. So let's get rid of these. Now it's filling up, saying, oh man, we're having issues, because it is being constantly powered. And as you can see, it's shooting out items, which is going to allow more items to go through. It keeps 23 items total. So, because one item keeps bouncing back and forth, and it spits out about 3 at a time. So, if we need to, we'll just shoot those out, fix issues, shoot them out if it doesn't. But this system is designed more to protect the system from overflow, and it will not allow the minecart to launch while this system is active. This is a safety quality of life thing. Yeah. and 31, and it is now fixed. It is now able to send the signals back. So, I know that I didn't completely explain how to build all of it, but some of them are easy. Redstone lamp observer going down into a block, powering a lamp, powering the redstone lamp, powering a dropper. Okay, that will cover that. And I did explain everything else. Pretty much, other than those few minor things, this system is exactly the same. With, of course, better quality of life parts. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys liked it, leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comments below or join my Discord. Links in the description. If you want to support me, you can either subscribe or join my Patreon. Links in the description. I do stream on Twitch whenever I get the moment. But you guys, this is the Redstone Wizard. Enjoy building.